everybody, this is Mrs. Peachy from your WCA Marine Science class. Just doing a little video tutorial on your science experiment part 1, 2, and 3 actually that you'll have throughout the semester here in marine science. Just to let you know a couple of things. First of all, you will see the lesson that says science experiment part 1, and then when you look over at your course tree here, if I can get this to move over, you'll see that that's in Unit 2. In Unit 4, you have Science Experiment Part 2, and then in Unit 5, you have Science Experiment Part 3. I've actually dropped all 3 of those from the grade book, so those are gone. But in their place, I have put in a custom assessment for your semester project. So you'll see a custom assessment for 100 points, which takes the place of all 3 of these portfolios. And you will actually be working on this portfolio throughout the semester and submitting it to me through email, through your webmail, at the end of the semester here. And actually by the 20th of December is when I have down that I would like this. So that gives me some time to make sure I get those graded and back to you in a timely fashion by the end of this semester. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this semester project, what it is, and why we're not doing it here at WCA. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just go to my website. So if you're unfamiliar with my website, you need to go to the section message boards on your home page. So if we went to the home page and your little push pin icon at the top of the screen, and that should bring you to your section message boards for Marine Science A. If you follow those links, it'll take you to the link to my website. Now I have actually bookmarked that to make it a little bit easier to get to. But here's my website, and you're going to select the Marine Science tab at the top of the screen. And here you're going to see some information on the semester project. This video that I'm recording right now is going to be linked here as well. But also then you'll see some project descriptions. So I'm going to go through with you what those descriptions are, which projects you have to do, and then also what this project survey is going to be. So if you click on project descriptions, you'll see that you have 5 different options. You can do a research paper on a marine organism. You can do a poster or PowerPoint with presentation on a marine organism. I'll explain what that is in a moment. You can do a travel brochure and presentation on a kind of a marine area, like an ecosystem within the marine environment. You can do a marine region presentation, which is different, and we'll go through that in a moment too. Or you can do an environmental research portfolio. So each one of these counts as like a double portfolio grade. Okay, total of 100 points. So the first one's pretty self-explanatory. It's a research paper on a marine organism. Any marine living thing you want to do. It can be an animal, like a marine mammal of some kind. It could be some sort of an invertebrate, like a squid or an octopus, or a giant sea spider. It could be something, like a giant tube worm, which lives at the bottom of the ocean near the hydrothermal vents and does not rely upon sunlight for any part of its food web down at that part of the ocean. There's just such a wide variety. You could pick a macroorganism, like any one of those that we talked about, or even a microorganism, like some type of zooplankton or phytoplankton that you think is super important in the ocean. You're going to answer these questions in your research paper. First of all, the complete classification from kingdom to species. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And make sure that you're giving me at least 2 individual organisms classifications. So if you want to do, for example, a squid. A squid's a pretty, general type of organism. It's not a species. So there's multiple species of squids. There's the giant squid, the colossal squid. I mean, there's different types of squid. So make sure you're actually giving me at least 2 species. Don't just stop at that genus level of classification, because they're not going to share necessarily the same habitats and stuff like that if you're talking about 2 different species. Give me the environment in which the organism lives. So this is all about the different biotic and abiotic factors, essentially, that organism has. I've listed a lot of the abiotic factors here. Temperature of the water, range of distribution within the body or bodies of water, migratory patterns, if any. How deep is the water? You know, how much sunlight did they get? You know, does it need a specific pH of water? So all of the conditions that are required for that organism to flourish. Physical appearance, does it change throughout that animal's or plants or protists life cycle? So, you know, a lot of times you'll have a different juvenile versus adult form. That happens many times in lots of different types of organisms. How the organism survives, what is its diet, what does it hunt or who hunts it? So what are some of the, you know, the ways in which this organism is going to live and interact within its, with other organisms? You might pick something that is in a mutualistic relationship with another organism. Maybe something like zooxanthellae, which is a type of algae that lives in a symbiotic relationship with coral. So in that case, you know, you're picking the zooxanthellae, but it also has a relationship with the coral that it resides in. Reproductive strategies. How does it reproduce? Not only physically, how does it reproduce, but does it bear live young? Does it, you know, give birth to, does it have external fertilization, internal fertilization? You know, does it, like I said, have live young? And that's 2 different types as well. You can have those that have live young, but yet they're still not considered to be mammals because they're actually not directly dependent upon the mother. When they're internal, it's a whole bunch of different terms that we use here. Oviparous, viviparous, ovoviviparous. There's 3 different ways in which you can describe reproductive strategies. Special features that make the organism unique. Some things, you never know what they could be. Every organism has its own unique qualities. And then information on survivability. What is the status of this organism? Is it endangered? Is it extinct? Is it threatened? Is it, you know, not at all on any of those kind of species watch lists? And, you know, what are some of the things that threaten, if there are any, this organism, and what can we do to prevent threats to it? So all those things are addressed within this research paper. Now, I went through those in a lot of detail, but I realized that those are the same questions you're going to be asking in a multitude of different formats here. So the second one is you do a poster with a presentation. So your poster, basically you answer those same questions. And again, you can do a poster. I think I also stated here you could do a PowerPoint instead. So if you don't want to do the paper, you can do the PowerPoint where you're answering those same questions. When you do this PowerPoint, you are going to be doing an audio voiceover for the PowerPoint. And actually, I think, let me just double check on this one, that I do have information here. I don't have it up here yet, but I will put a link up here for you to show you. There'll be a little video to show you how to add narration to your PowerPoint slides. So that not only are you doing a PowerPoint, but it's almost like you're there giving a speech, because you're going to be adding a voiceover. You're going to be adding some narration to those slides, okay? That's option number 2. Option number 3, you're moving away from those questions. You're doing a travel brochure. So here you are going to be picking a specific marine region. Maybe you want to do the coral reefs. Maybe you're going to be doing the Antarctic zone. Maybe you'll do something like the kelp forest, or perhaps the hydrothermal vents of the deep sea. Maybe you want to do the trenches down in the Haddle Zone. But pick a specific region, not just like the open ocean. I guess, in some ways you could focus on a geographic, like if that's the case, if you want to do something that swims in the open ocean, then pick a specific region of the world so that you're doing like temperate latitude or tropical latitude open ocean, because it's going to vary by region. You're probably better off to pick something that's more specific. Maybe you want to do something like a mangrove forest or a salt marsh. Maybe you want to do a tide pool, or you could do the rocky shore. There's so many different zones of the ocean. The better term rather than zone is to say like a ocean ecosystem. So you're going to be looking at an ocean ecosystem. And then you have these things to figure out to put in your brochure. Where in the world do you find these things? What ocean or body of water is associated with that region of the world? What's the average temperature of the coastal water? What types of water sports or water activities can you do at that location? Well, if you're doing something, say, for example, in the kelp forest, maybe, that's off the part of one of the bigger kelp forests is off the coast of kind of Northern California. You can perhaps find out what activities can be done in that area. Maybe it's something like scuba diving, or maybe it's something like surfing or something like that, where you're kind of going into that region. Significant regional topographic features. What do you find there? Mountains? Do you find trenches? Do you find volcanoes? I mean, these are topographic features. What does it look like there? It can be in the water, or it can be along the coastline of that region. What kind of animals, plants, other types of life do you find within the body of water? What's the climate like? If you're doing an area where there's coastal information, talk about hotels. Where can somebody stay if they want to visit this ocean region? And what are some other tourist hotspots and dangers associated with this? You guys are making a brochure. So if somebody, let's say I want to take a trip to the Galapagos Islands, which is a great region, even though it's terrestrial, but it has a lot of aquatic organisms that are nearby. What am I going to find in that region? If I want to be able to go scuba diving on the Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Australia, again, what kind of a brochure could you make to advertise that region? Obviously, pictures throughout. And also, guys, ladies and gentlemen, always, always, always include your bibliography or work cited, okay? You may never, ever submit any kind of research that does not have some sort of citations. It's plagiarism unless you are giving me all the information of where you got your stuff. The next option that you have is the marine region presentation. So in this, you are going to alright, so for this option here, you are doing a fictitious situation in which you are a part of the scientific community, and you're discovering a brand new marine region and sharing the information with this organization called the World Oceanographer Society. And so you have to come up with like a fictitious new environmental region within the ocean. And in order for it to be accepted by the society, you actually have to make sure that that new region is located at least 2 miles away from any major coastline. So you're going to look at the map, and you're going to find a region on the map. Make sure it's close to a coastline. And then you are going to create a fictitious discovery. Okay? What you need to include is a map of the newly discovered region, the topography of the ocean floor there, the salinity ranges, like how salty is that water. Remember we looked at like parts per million with saltiness, or parts per thousand. And temperature range of that region, types of organisms found in the region, significant natural topographic features. Make sure you have pictures for each one of these. You know, what kind of topographic features did you find? Did you find hotspots? Did you find trenches? Did you find coral atolls? Did you find plate boundaries, ridges, vents, or reefs, or anything else? Remember that all of this stuff has to make sense. So if you're picking a tropical region and you tell me the temperatures are going to be like 1, 2, 3 degrees Celsius, it doesn't make sense. So you have to make sure that whatever region you pick, that the life that lives there, that the features that are found in that region make sense for what we know about how oceans are structured already. Make note of any unnatural features. Do you have shipwrecks in that region? Is there something else going on the ocean floor that we'd have to be aware of? You're doing a PowerPoint presentation for this one, making sure you have photos and images, and making sure that you're answering all the questions listed above. Okay, and again, don't forget your bibliography. And the last option you have here is where you're actually doing a research portfolio on some sort of environmental problem. So you're going to pick a marine region and a problem that affects that specific region. Really classic example would be to pick the coral reefs, and maybe even specifically the Great Barrier Reef, right? And a problem that affects it is something called coral bleaching. So you're going to talk first about the reef and where it is and how it formed and what kind of organisms live there and the temperature, the abiotic factors. And then you're going to discuss the actual problem. What is coral bleaching? And then you're going to find 10 articles relating to coral bleaching that are within the past 10 years, and give a summary of each of the articles. Make sure they're news articles, not research articles. So you're looking for stuff on, CNN or MSNBC or other news sites. Could be any kind of, could be Newsweek, could be Time, could be any really, news site that's out there. And of course, a bibliography. So you're given kind of the two parts, a summary of the region and the problem, and then research articles that have to do, not research articles, news articles that have to do with the actual problem themselves and summarizing them, okay? So that's kind of a twofold, two-part approach to that one. And keep in mind that for this one, you are also doing a PowerPoint. You do the summary, the 10 articles, visuals, and a bibliography is how it is graded. So the summary can be included right in that PowerPoint presentation. All right, so those are your options, ladies and gentlemen, for your semester research project. Remember, it's a 100-point research project, and you can really be kind of picking something that's of high interest to you because you've got the whole ocean at your fingertips, essentially, for what you want to choose. But you do have to let me know what it is you want to do. And so the last thing I'm going to have you do is to click on the project survey. So when you open this up, it's going to bring you to a Google form. And you're going to tell me which one you want to do and what organism or what organism or region you're going to be reporting on. And then you're just going to make sure you tell me, yes, I was able to find those project descriptions and this is my name, and submit this to me. This just enables me to make sure that all of you guys are knowing what needs to be done of you for the semester. All right, so that's that. Hopefully that all makes sense. If you do have any questions or concerns, you can come to my virtual class. We have a virtual class for marine science. It is on Tuesdays at 9:45 in the morning there. So it should also be on your planner. You can come to my virtual class. Ask questions there. You can call me at extension 2204. Or of course, you can always send me a webmail message. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later.